This project was made possible with the support of Cal Humanities, a nonprofit partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Visit www.calhum.org.
Years, and I just don't know how to condense it. I've been going to groups Monday through Friday, and I'm just thoroughly drained. So we're just gonna wherever it, I've got like a little, yeah.
All right, we're gonna get a level. I think
Eggs, bacon, and oatmeal.
Good combination, man. Yeah.
She was gorgeous, huh?
I got a picture of it.
What happened?
Let's see it.
You guys still married?
No.
No.
Lasted about 10 years. Family kind of broke us up.
Yeah.
Their family was kind of like the outlaws of Montana.
Huh.
Robbing banks and,
Mormon outlaws.
yeah, yeah, real Mormon.
Can't trust them.
Yeah, all families
He
of six
had
and
like
break.
six brothers, and they were all outlaws. And the family kind of broke us up.
Yeah, because you didn't say, where's my machine gun? Let's go. Okay, here we go.
I hope
We
this
got a
works
good
out,
level,
man.
So whenever you're ready.
Okay. You ready, Christian? Yeah. Okay. God help me. All right. Vuvu. Vuvu means grandpa in Portuguese. And like I was telling you guys before the recorder was on, I've had my family story rattling around in my head for 30 plus years and don't know how to condense it into such a short format, but I'm going to try it. And it starts with Vuvu, at least the latest chapter. And he grew up in the generation of the Depression. And Portugal is the one country in Western Europe even poorer than Ireland. And that's quite an accomplishment. And he grew up literally an indentured servant, being fed the parts of the pig that no one else wanted, the hooves and the ears and the snout and so forth and so on. Those of you who grew up in the Deep South understand. And the vegetables that were rotting and that no one else wanted. The first 4 times he came to this country, he came illegally. The first time he came, he almost died. As a young man, he stowed away on a ship and didn't think about anything other than stowing away on a ship. Crossing the Atlantic at that time took 3 weeks. He went 3 weeks without food. The second time, he was smart enough to know someone on the ship, so he stowed away on a lifeboat, one of those little life rafts, and was able to get 1 meal a day and able to pee and do his business like a human being. He did what he had to do, and eventually, after establishing himself here and gaining citizenship, brought the rest of the family. He made the mistake of allowing my father to marry my mother. He was something of a strong man. My family comes from a region of Portugal that is northwest of Lisbon, of Europe. It's the furthest point into the Atlantic, and actually shares many similarities with San Francisco. It's a city of 7 hills. It has temperate weather, never gets too cold, never gets too hot. And it's a beautiful place. We tell people we come from Caldas Rainha, which is a small city. We actually come from a village outside of it called Chão da Parada, which means floor of the parade, because whenever the Queen came into Lisbon, she passed through that village. We're not even from that village. We're from a small farming community outside of that village called Burro. Burro, even in Spanish, means jackass. My hometown is named Jackass. My grandfather was literally the godfather. The godfather in Sicily, southern Europe, regions of Spain and Portugal was nothing more than the farmer who took care of all the farmers around him. That was the original notion of godfather. If you came from a good family, he would lend you money and may never ask for it in return. If you messed with his people, he would mess with you. he would walk around town with a couple of lieutenants who carried shotguns, and he never did. He was a strong man, and he was a good man. My father walked into Burru wearing staff sergeant stripes when he was a private. He was a scoundrel. My grandfather was fooled. When he found out who my father was and what type of man he really was, he had to be prevented from murdering him. I have memories of my grandfather. He died when I was 4, and he would look at me with great affection, and my uncle, who's a Vietnam veteran, 2 tours of duty, and my mother's little brother and my godfather, in the Christian sense, would look at me with great affection and then nod their heads, tisk, and say, yeah, but he's got that Costa in him. I don't know where I'm going with this, but my family's legacy on my mother's side is one of pride, of some violence, but great love. My uncle, who became my father figure, I was raised by a single mother and a woman of profound love and beauty, and I'm grateful to her and grateful that I understand the depth of women. I'm not one of these men who believes that men need to rule the roost in some kind of superior way. My uncle, her little brother, was my father figure, had profound violence in him, was nearly beaten to death twice by his father, my grandfather, but was the kind of man who would cradle your head, your face in his hands and tell you how much he loved you. There's a word in Portuguese called saudade. It's untranslatable into English. And it's the simultaneous recognition of longing for something that you may have had, something you may never have. A profound feeling of sadness and recognition of beauty and love at the same time. It's mistranslated as bittersweet, which is trite and hallmarkish. It's not merely nostalgia, because it could be for something that you can feel saudade for someone that you're going to see. It's like the recognition of beauty and love and how fragile things are at the same time. The beginning of it is Portuguese sailors who were away and longing for that person who was away. That person may come back and may never come back. And that's what I feel for my family. They're all gone except for one first cousin and my godmother who's in Portugal. It's a feeling I have for the family that I may have in the future. And the feeling I have for my mother who's gone. Saudade.
Did you ever go to Portugal? Did you ever?
I've been there 4 times between 6 to 16, and I'm 47 now. So I miss it.
Wow.
Did you speak Portuguese?
I can swear in Portuguese.
Pretty good.
You know, and it's the first language that I learned. So if I was there for 3 months or in Brazil, I understand it completely, and when I'm there for Easter and I open my mouth, they laugh. You know what I mean? Like I can speak it enough, but they think I'm funny.
All right, great story.
I don't know if it was linear. I was trying to.
You know, it doesn't need to be linear. But, you know, we could talk a little bit about story structure, but, you know, everybody's following along, right? I mean, it's so.
This project was made possible with the support of Cal Humanities, a nonprofit partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Visit www.calhum.org.